again, Rasmus.
Hello.
It's nice to seeing you, and
You too.
I'm glad that you agreed to having this this small discussion about this, which was the topic that we talked a little about it back in March 17 in North Carolina. But I'm glad that I could take the trip to USA and actually discuss the comparison and the similarities and the differences between the American Constitution and grundlov. So, first of all, like, how did your Constitution even get started? Like, why did the people feel it was necessary to actually revolt against the British king?
Yeah, it was because after the Revolutionary War, they thought that they needed a set of rules, sort of, to contain the American spirit, basically. Yeah. And then, how did you come? You are the Danish Constitution, or the Danish grundlov.
Yeah, it was a little later, and all throughout Europe there was revolutions and civil unrest, which was caused by the citizens wanting more rights and wanting a less corrupt government and more. They basically wanted democracy, wanted to participate in governing the country. So Frederik VII agreed to actually sign the grundlov because he knew that if he didn't, then he would there would be a revolution against him. So he decided against his will to sign it, and it became active in 1849. So kind of like 80 years after yours.
Yeah. Ours came into force in 1789 after the Revolutionary War, and it was to create the equality and to get rid of the European bullshit.
The European
bullshit. They didn't want the European customs. They wanted, because it was just a new country over America.
Yeah.
The frontiermen, they wanted to have a new country, their own set of rules that was.
But what was wrong with the European set of rules? What's different between the American Constitution's rules? Like, is it freedom, equality?
Well, the American Constitution protects the citizens' liberty and property rights, for example, and also it has one of the 10 amendments we have added to our Constitution said that America is divided into 3 branches of power: the legislative, the executive, and the judicial, and the legislative branch. And under these, in the country, it is in 3 layers, you can say. The whole of US has 3 branches of power. The individual states has 3 branches of power.
Yeah.
And the individual counties also have the 3 branches of power.
So like the whole of USA, the Constitution is basically the rule set of the whole USA that the counties and the states has to answer to as well.
Yeah.
So they can't make any laws that goes against it, or what?
No, they can't make any laws that goes against the Constitution's basic rights, which is the Bill of Rights, which is one of the first 10 amendments.
Yeah, that makes sense. We kind of have the same in Denmark. Like, we have a constitution which applies to every citizen in their entire kingdom of Denmark.
Yeah.
But the reason why I call it kingdom is because we have a constitutional monarchy, which is basically a monarchy which has to abide by the constitution, so the monarch cannot go against the constitution, which is our grundlov, but the monarch still has to sign each and every law that's passed in Denmark. So if the monarch doesn't sign, then the law doesn't get through. But of course, like, it's only hypothetical because like the monarch does sign, or he would or she would get thrown off her seat. So we have a constitutional monarchy, you could say, and it's basically it's the same things. It protects the property rights, so you can't get search without a warrant. It protects the liberty rights. It protects the division of power, which we only have in 1 layer in Denmark. We actually have 2 executive powers, because we have the government, who is the executive power of the whole state, and then you have the regions who decide what to do with what the government said. So the government says we need to buy 3 pigs, and the region says from who are we gonna buy the 3 pigs. So that's an example of it. And also we have religious freedom in Denmark. obviously like the Denmark is a Lutheran evangelian Luthersk evangelisk church, Christian church, but
no Christianity.
Yeah. So our monarch has to be Christian, but every Christian has the same rights as every Muslim, every Jew, every Buddhist, as long as
if you're Muslim, you can keep your religion, but if you keep to the rules of the Danish grundlov.
Yeah, which is basically that you can worship whatever God you want, but if it like goes against sædeligheden, which is like if it goes against if it kind of wants to people to do like sexual things towards each other without the consent of it, that's not included. And also
so that goes against the grundlov,
exactly,
fragments of the grundlov.
And also if it disturbs the peace and order. So basically, if it's a peaceful religion, you can exercise it as much as you want, and you can also, there's freedom of assembly in Denmark. You can peacefully assemble everywhere, and you can peacefully, like, there's freedom of press as well. So you can come out and you can say your opinions. You can gather a following and actually teach about your opinions. And that this is a basic part of the grundlov, which was written in the very first grundlov in 1849. So, do you have anything similar to that, like religion-wise?
Yeah, free exercise of religion, like you can be Muslim and Christian, whatever you want. And we have freedom of speech also, freedom of the press, right to peacefully assemble.
Yeah.
Right to peaceably assemble.
I get what you mean.
Assemble.
So it's basically like, so when we look at these two constitutions, the Danish grundlov and the American constitutions, like, what differences is there really? Like, for me, the only real difference seems to be that Denmark is a constitutional monarchy, while the United States is, like, state-wise, it's a constitutional republic, but like as a whole United States, it's basically just a federation.
Yeah.
So that's kind of the difference, and the only real difference there is to Denmark is that we have the monarch who is in rule of it all, but
in the United States we have the president.
Yeah, but pretty much does what the population wants. So we have a monarch, but not really.
Alright.
Okay. So let's for a moment consider how would our lives be if we didn't have the Constitution and the grundlov. Like, we hear a lot about them, and we know that it's a big part of Denmark and the United States, but how big of a part does it play in our lives? Like, what would matter, do you think? What would happen?
Yeah, well, if the Constitution disappeared overnight, just vanished, I will basically have nothing. I will have no rights. I will have no right to bear arms. I will have no freedom of speech, no freedom to exercise religion. I would basically be back to the frontier time.
So your life would be like kind of unsure. You would only rely on like your own ability to hustle through life.
Yeah, basically.
Yeah.
Yeah. What about Denmark, the Danish Constitution?
I think it would be kind of the same. Like it ensures the basic rights of citizens, and it ensures the citizens' rights towards the government. So basically, if we didn't have the Danish grundlov, then the government could pretty much do what they want. They could install every new law they wanted. They didn't have to listen to our monarch. They didn't have to listen to us. The three divisions of power. No, the division of power into three branches that's kind of what ensures that Denmark is not corrupt. But if that disappeared, and it is stated in the Danish grundlov that it should be there, but if it disappeared, then like I wouldn't be sure of a trial by law. People could just like the government could just put me in jail if they wanted.
Yeah,
the officials, the one who actually had control over the prison system, could just put me in jail. They could search my house without a warrant. I wouldn't be sure of anything in life.
But if your constitution disappeared, would there be a prison system, you think?
No, it would just be like the
If
strongest.
if you were the
surveillance.
warden of a prison,
Yeah.
and your constitution disappears,
The
you
strongest
would probably
would
not
win.
keep your job because the government wouldn't be there to pay you
Yeah.
anymore. That's a government paid job also in the United States.
Yeah. So
Unless it's private prison.
I think like we wouldn't have a life without our constitutions. It's
no, not really.
it's a very unsure life with no like.
But also, if we had the constitution and it disappeared, so
Yeah.
we had it before and now it's gone, then it would be a major setback.
Yeah.
You would be back to the Stone Age basically.
Yeah. So I guess we can conclude that the constitutions play a pretty big life as like some kind of invisible factors in our life. We don't realize it in our daily lives,
No,
but that's
not
what
really.
it kind of like. That's what leads us in a good life. That's what makes us sure that we're not gonna get harmed. Someone's not gonna sneak into our house at night. We're not gonna be put in jail. If we do something wrong, then we are at least sure to get a good and fair trial and a lawyer. So if like, it's basically the pillar, the fundament of our lives.
In Denmark maybe, but in United States, if you're black, you're just gonna get a fucking trial. I'm